One got knocked down, he won't get up again. The other went knocked him down. One got knocked down, and now he's fucking dead. The other went knocked him out. Combo breaker!
Oh man, I love video games so much, I kinda wish my life was a video game. Kinda like today's combatants. That's right, today we have a fight between Scott Pilgrim and Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph lives quite a boring life. He climbs the building, breaks the building, and then, you know, the townspeople are like, oh man, screw you! They throw him off the building. It's really, really boring and repetitive. So that's why he kind of went through this midlife crisis where he wanted to become the hero. So he left his game and went to go find a game where he could be the hero. So, with Ralph's story out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about his feats and skills. Ralph is known for his ridiculous strength that he uses to break walls, buildings, and even smash jawbreakers in half. You know, a jawbreaker the size of him. Oh, and this one time, he literally smashed on a thing of Mentos, like a giant floor of Mentos, so hard that it freaking collapsed in and it caused an explosion. And he once shook a goddamn volcano just by stomping. Yeah, Ralph's a pretty tough dude. He's also quick enough to pilot a hoverboard that's traveled across the Candy Kingdom in seconds, and he's capable of fighting cybugs. Ralph is also built like a tank as he survived shuttle crashes, being thrown off a building, and an explosion with the equivalent of 3 megatons. That's like 3 atomic bombs. Ralph is also rather intelligent as he's learned how to play multiple games rather quickly and has saved multiple arcade worlds. But Ralph does have his weaknesses. Ralph can only come back to life if he dies inside his game. Dying outside his game, he can't come back, which I guess isn't too bad of a weakness, seeing as though normal humans only have 1 life anyway. Also, he's kind of going through this midlife crisis, so that could mess him up in a fight. Scott Pilgrim had the hots for one Ramona Flowers, but it turns out there's a catch if he wanted to date this cute blue-haired badass. He would have to beat her 7 evil exes, 6 previous boyfriends, and 1 previous girlfriend. But Scott doesn't go in guns a-blazing unprepared. He brings multiple special moves, weapons, and powers. So he actually has a minor amount of Toon Force he can use to survive ridiculous things, and he can create energy blasts with his bass. Scott also carries his bass guitar, which, as I previously said, can shoot energy. He also has the power of love, which is a katana, and the power of understanding, which is also a katana. He also carries one up, which he can use to bring himself back to life at full health if he dies. Scott also has a few special moves, like his super attack, which is basically the Tatsumaki Senpuku from Street Fighter, or like, you know, that hurricane kick that Ryu does. That's what that is if you don't know. He also has the team attack 1, where he uppercuts the opponent up into the air with a blast energy. He has tech attack, which is a dash punch, and his base can shoot energy waves in multiple variations that can go different distances. He has the reversal, where he blocks an attack and then can counter with an easy punch. He also has the air juggle, where he punches the opponent in the air, follows up with 63 punches, and ends with a 64th downward spike punch. He also has the power of love, which boosts all his stats and gives him 2 special moves. The Ninja Slash is a reference to the opening of Ninja Gaiden, where he dashes forward and slashes his foe in half. And the power of love can send, it also has the ability to send out outranged energy blasts in its slashes. And the power of understanding is even stronger. It's even stronger than the power of love and boosts his stats even further. He gains new moves such as the X Strike, but he needs another person to use this, so it's useless in this match with no prep time or outside help. Scott also, if he's gonna win, his woman needs to have some pretty impressive feats behind him, right? And you'd be right, he's pretty damn strong. He's strong enough to take out Matthew Pate effortlessly, and he made Todd Ingram bleed. And not to mention, he one-shot Ramona's ex-girlfriend Roxy after discovering the power of love. And with the help of Ramona, they were able to beat Gideon. Scott is fast enough to block attacks from Roxy, even though he can't see her until right before she starts the attack, and he's even dodged Gideon's lightning bolts. Scott is tough enough to survive attacks from Matthew Patel, who's taken, and even takes sucker punches from Lucas Lee, and he's even fought Gideon and survived he survived the second time. Scott is a video game and comic book nerd. He's extremely skilled in swordsmanship and is an expert in hand-to-hand combat. He considers himself the best fighter in his province, and he's defeated numerous foes. However, he is kind of a dumbass at certain times and has a tendency to ignore his own flaws, which can screw him over at sometimes. But that's not his only weakness. Not to mention, you know, he's incredibly lazy, and that whole ignoring his own flaws thing makes it so he has a hard time improving and becoming better than he is. Which video game-inspired hero will come out on top in a fight to the death? Scott and Ramona are playing Street Fighter when Wreck-It Ralph walks in and punches Dan, knocking him out. Scott looks confused as he gets sucked in and looks at Ralph. The announcer says, "Final round!" and Scott runs over and punches Ralph in the gut. Ralph then grabs it. Ralph then gets up, punches Scott in the gut, and throws him to the ground. He then starts punching incredibly quickly onto the ground, smashing Scott repeatedly. Scott then rolls over and uppercuts Ralph, launching him into the air. Scott runs after him and then does a spin kick, launching him against a wall. Scott runs over and pulls out the power of understanding and slashes at Ralph, cutting his arm rather badly. Ralph punches Scott, sending him sliding back. Scott then jumps in the air and slashes down at Ralph, but Ralph dodges and punches him to the ground, causing a shockwave. Scott lands, only to fall over from the shockwaves, as Ralph knocks the sword from his hands and then claps on Scott's head, crushing it. Ralph starts to celebrate as Scott rises up, fully healed. He draws his sword again. Ralph looks over, tired and bleeding and shocked at the revival of Scott. Scott and Ralph run forward at full speed. The two jump in the air and dash past each other, fist and blade out. The two land and Ralph splits in half and falls over dead. Scott is shot out of the game, bleeding, and back next to Ramona. Alright, when I planned this match, I honestly thought it would be way closer than it was, but upon research, this was honestly one of the most unfair matches I've ever done. Scott just overpowers Ralph in every category. First, just for a quick comparison, Scott is a continental threat and moves at massively hypersonic speeds. Ralph is a 3 megaton threat, which is really great and all, but not good enough to beat Scott. And he's only supersonic, which also isn't good enough to beat Scott. Then add in the fact that Scott's got swords and special moves, and Ralph only really punches, and Ralph's gonna have a hard time winning. But even if Ralph somehow manages to kill Scott, in the 1 in a million chance he does it, Scott would come back at full power, while Ralph would be rather weak from before when he killed Scott the first time. So looks like Ralph got wrecked. Our winner is Scott Pilgrim.
Next time on Combo Breaker.
The most pathetic fighters I've ever seen are about to go head-to-head in the next Combo Breaker. Dan Hibiki versus Glass Joe. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and put in the comments what you think of the next match, who you think will win, why, anything you got. I'd love to see what you guys put.